into Gravity's win.
Thanks, Riv. Solid win there after a little bit of back and forth there. I want to jump to the early game, though, immediately. Look at the lane swaps that came out from both teams.
Yeah.
Relatively even until we saw the swap back and the dive in on Hanser for TiP there, netting a kill.
Right. The opening to this game was a lot different than, the mid-game and end-game. Team Impulse actually opened this game very controlled, and their lane swap matching was really good until they took the initiative. And this is something that I was looking at Gravity last week. They just kind of sat back and waited for counterplays to present themselves. But I really value initiative, and that's something that Team Impulse are pretty much all based around. And so it's Impact from the top lane, who takes the initiative. He teleports down as they have, Hanser quarantined around the turret to get that kill and get them that lead, which is, one of the big things I was looking at in the start of this game was, why are you giving Sivir to Team Impulse? This is their champion. Sivir is the linchpin that brings all Team Impulse strategy together, right? Because Kassadin and Nocturne are one thing diving the back line, but the Sivir speed to boost up the rest of your team to follow and make picks like we saw them get at the Baron, that's really what brings it all together.
Yeah, I know, of course, then we look into the mid lane. We saw Keen gathering a huge CS lead, though all of this was happening in the side lane. So we've got that Hecarim pick. They flexed it into the mid lane. And then the Kassadin pickup by Zhao not panning out there in the mid lane, at least in the 1v1.
Yeah, I really like Hecarim into melee mid matchups. He does really well against Zed, Yasuo, and Kassadin. Those are really his bread and butter, what he likes to go into, and those are winning matchups for him. So Keen did a good job there, getting caught out throughout some parts of the game. A little bit of a misplay there, but also you're talking about initiative. It has to be calculated initiative, too. Like, TiP, they were very calm in this game at the start, and then they just went back to TiP. They went back to very impulsive plays. Like, let's go Baron 4 times in a row, and they didn't actually take account of what was going on around them, the power spikes that Gravity had. Altec was out of control this game from the mid-game, and they didn't really do anything to stop that bleeding.
Yeah, I think the initial idea was pretty good there. You could see it worked out one time where you draw them close, and then you have the Sivir, you have the Nocturne, you can immediately jump on the Hecarim when he gets close. But you're right, they just returned to it so many times when they weren't perfectly set up for that charge.
Now, I do want to take a look at a replay 22 minutes in, so we're going to pull that up on your screen. We're down in the Dragon River. This was a win here for Gravity, kind of their first big team fight wins. Irene, we're going to have you walk us through this.
And this is another example of TiP not playing around the pre-team fight, because there's no ultimate from Adrian, there's no ultimate from Rush at this point, because they had just had a fight previously. So Gravity are going to take complete advantage of this, knowing that those are down. Keen is dead because of those ultimates, and now Keen gets to TP into the backline. Hanser's ultimate just wrecks Apollo there. He has to flash out to try and re-engage and get out of the slow, and then he just gets clocked immediately by Keen. QE as the spell shield comes up, quarter-second timing there between those spells. Amazing play there from Keen, even though he was the one who was picked off previously. So the fact that his body, like 20 seconds, 30 seconds prior to this, absorbed multiple ultimates actually is a big part of why they were able to win that fight and why they chose that fight in the first place.
Now,
yeah.
How valuable is the double TP here in this situation? Because it's something that I kind of realized.
Pretty valuable.
Pretty valuable, right? I mean, in exploring, how many other mid laners, it's been popular in past seasons to take the double TP. Fnatic was a big fan of it, right? We see it pop out here. Is there more than just Hecarim that are willing to take it? Kassadin, we saw Xpeke do in the past. Is that something that could find its way back into the meta?
Hecarim is probably the best. I feel like having that other summoner spell is very valuable right now for dominating mid lane matchups. Like it's dominated by Azirs and mages who want to have a defensive summoner. So I feel like TP is really a Hecarim.
I don't think we're ever going to get back to the days of like MYM doing double teleport every single game they play. I like teleport mid lane Lux. I don't think that's coming back, but yeah, Keen can definitely make it work, especially with that Hecarim. Also, after that team fight, I just want to say Altec's team fighting with Jinx this game. Almost every single team fight, really, really good. He optimizes his uptime as an AD carry, constantly getting enough damage and using his flash and heal only when necessary. So
yeah, absolutely every fight holding on to those until he needed them. Well, keep it tuned right here. After the break, CLG will attempt to pick up their 5th straight win as they take on Team Liquid. Stay with us.